Ed Sheeran's the master of live looping, there's no doubt about it. But today I'm going to break down some of his tricks and show you how I use them in my live shows. That way you'll be able to take some of his loop techniques and truly make them your own. So in today's video, I'm going to go through the basic parts of building a rhythm with a loop pedal. And for context, I've used a loop pedal since about 2012, when I first saw Ed Sheeran's performance on Later with Jules Holland, which is a UK TV programme on the BBC, where a lot of emerging artists get their leg up into the mainstream. And I was blown away by Ed's performance on that show and bought my first loop pedal shortly after. And I've been watching his videos on and off ever since, and long-term subscribers of this channel will know that I've covered quite a lot of his songs. So to get straight in with the first sort of foundation loop that you're going to add when building a rhythm with a loop pedal is, I kind of call it like a hi-hat loop, but it's not really a hi-hat loop. It's more of like a foundational muted strum sort of percussion loop. So this is going to act as like a timekeeper and also give you an idea of what the groove is going to be when the loop's complete. So it's a muted strum, essentially, like a... And a really, really important tip as part of this is that your left hand, if you're right-handed that is, so your fretting hand should have the fingers spread fairly wide, because that's going to avoid accidentally fretting any notes or hitting any harmonics, like those kinds of sounds, because you want this to almost sound like a snare drum sound. It should be really clean and choppy. So if your fingers are too close together, you're risking getting like a... Hear how there's some notes fretted there that you just don't want that in the loop, because the chances are as well it's going to be out of key with the song and it's just going to sound dreadful. So spread your left hand fingers on the fretboard to avoid accidentally fretting those notes. So and obviously that's very much the groove, the rhythm of the song, and it just acts as a foundation, like I said. So moving on to the second loop, that's going to be your kick drum loop, which is done by hitting the bridge of the guitar down here. And I don't actually hit on the bridge often. I hit the strings towards the bridge as close as you can without actually being on the bridge. And the reason behind that is because if you've got the gain a little bit hot in this pickup, you can kind of risk sort of clipping on the mixing desk and stuff. So I like to be a little bit away from the bridge. It depends how you've got the guitar set, really. So just down here. And with my live setup, you don't actually need to hit that very hard, because I tend to take a 12-inch sub with me as well as my tops. So I get quite a nice low-end thud with that sound. So down there in the rhythm of the song, obviously. Very straightforward. And then the third loop is essentially, it's the same as the first loop, but it's a snare drum loop. So I'm using more attack and being more sparing with the actual notes. So like the snare drum accent, so what I'm sort of accentuating there. So I'm going to stick some headphones on because I've got no monitor set up in this room, and layer down those first three loops for you. So the first one, as I said, is going to be that hi-hat loop. So and on my particular guitar, because I've got this sound hole pickup, which is an LR Baggs M1 active, it's an active sound hole pickup, and it picks up the knocks and taps on the body quite nicely. So I sometimes add a second snare loop by hitting the bottom of the guitar down here. That sound. So let me just add that so you can hear how that sounds. So that adds just another accent there as well. And following on from that, I will move over to my loop mic. Now, I've not got my loop mic in a stand today. I've got it just handheld. And I like to use a loop mic with a switch as well, by the way. That's an important tip, because if you're in a venue where they kind of put you in the corner of the room, or if the thing behind you is made of glass or whatever, a lot of venue owners don't understand how sound works. So you can end up with unwanted feedback issues with this mic. So I like to have one with a switch just so that I can kill it if I need to. But with this last loop, I will add like a snare, not a snare drum sound, like a hi-hat sound with my mouth with a t sound. So I'm going to add that now. And that's like the basic foundations of a beat on a loop pedal. And you can obviously tailor that beat to whatever song you're playing. That's sort of a very generic kind of beat. But then you can sort of move on to track 2 and start layering up some melodies, some riffs or some vocals or whatever. I like to add an octave pedal as well to add a bass line below that, which is really cool. But for the purpose of this video, this was just about how to build that rhythm, how to get those different sounds. And it is, yeah, it's just about building the beat, not the actual full song. Riffs, chords and melodies come after the groove is solid. And yeah, it just, all of those things combined just make that loop, they make the rhythm sound very human. And the reason that I love to use a loop pedal live is because I've been playing solo gigs since around 2009, and I found myself getting quite bored of what I was playing, because obviously the lack of the band. For context as well, I've played in bands since I was 10 years old, so that's kind of always been my thing. But the addition of the loop pedal has kind of brought back the funk, the groove, or whatever, the sort of fullness of a band, but being able to do it by myself. So it's just a really cool thing to be able to do. So I'm not going to waffle on and make this video 15 minutes long. I'm just going to leave it there. But if you're interested in these kinds of tips and tricks and guitar and loop and music related content here on YouTube, please make sure that you're subscribed by hitting the subscribe link down below if you haven't already. And thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye-bye.